I don't know if you all know that Zelma's studying to be a practitioner. Pretty close to being true, right? At Lakeside. When?
June.
Oh. Remember how that's not an easy task. She's still got to take tests and have oral panels and blah, blah, blah. Lots of hard work. It's a lot of hard work. It's a 5-year journey, actually. So, yeah. So this is what I'm talking about today. Listen and silent are the same letters. I know. So I want to tell you this little story, just to start us off on that topic. This little girl ran in the house and her dad was reading the newspaper and she said, "Daddy," and she's telling him all the news and that she wanted to share with him. And she said to him, "Daddy, are you listening?" And he said, "Yes, I hear you." And she said, "No, you got to listen with your ears, your eyes, and your heart." So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about listening today. And I have to tell you that I'm very fragile. And I haven't told many stories. There aren't any stories more, I don't believe, that are going to cause me to cry. However, we never know. So I want to share this reading with you. I have a spiritual crush on this guy, Mark Nepo. I love Mark Nepo, and if you haven't read him and if you're not familiar with him, I start every day of my spiritual practice reading Mark Nepo. And he never fails to speak to me about the topic that I've chosen. So, here we go, beginning with Mark Nepo. And this is from his April 3rd reading. It says, "Live loud enough in your heart, and there's no need to speak." Says, "There was a time in my life during my years in college when I was so talkative that the waterfalls of words kept others at a safe distance. Of course, in time, this cascade pushed others away. But what I didn't realize till much later was that I kept talking faster and louder to the world around me because I couldn't hear the world within me. Of course, the more noise I made, the less chance I had of having what was real enter me or rise from me. It became a damning cycle. So often, we mistake the need to hear with the need to be heard. All that talk was a way of reaching out to others with my heart. Ultimately, it was all based on the fear that if I didn't throw my heart out there through endless words and gestures and questions, I would be left alone. It's taken me many years to learn that the world comes flooding in if I can only keep myself open. It remains important to reach out and express oneself, but underneath that is the need to be porous and real. Through the open heart, the world comes rushing in, the way oceans fill the smallest hole along the shore. It is the quietest sort of miracle. By simply being who we are, the world will come to fill us, to cleanse us, to baptize us again and again. Isn't that delicious? So I don't know about you, but I have several friends who have a cascade, like the Niagara Falls of conversation. Talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And so it's like the big wall of China. She doesn't let anyone in. So I say she's my friend. I think she's my friend. I would say to you, I love her dearly. But the truth of the matter is, I don't know her. Do you all know people like that? That you can't know. because they won't let you in. And so, what she really is doing is teaching me or showing me that she actually has no interest in me at all. And I think that's sad, because I would really like to get to know her from that broken, open heart space. But a lot of times, I do that to myself. Because I don't listen. I don't give Spirit an opportunity to hear me. Yesterday I was talking with Rhonda, and if you don't mind, I'd like to share this. She said that often nightmares are God trying to throw a hissy fit so that you'll listen. So, if you notice that things are going a little rocky in your life, maybe it's because God's throwing a hissy fit and you can't hear. You're not listening. So, Martin Heidegger says we make space inside of ourselves so being can speak. The reason I was talking to Rhonda is that we had some plumbing issues here. And my house that I rent out in Albuquerque had some plumbing issues. And the man who takes care of my lawn, he came and he turned my faucets on, or the sprinklers on, and then he didn't turn the water back on. So I think that was Thursday. So all day Thursday I didn't have any water. And so Rhonda pointed out that maybe God was throwing a hissy fit. What do I need? What is it that I need to listen to? Of course, I know what it is. But maybe you can guess. I don't know. But we do that. We get busy. We have that internal chatter, that and we don't listen. We don't listen to what Spirit is trying to tell us. I don't know how many of you were at Robert's workshop, but I'm going to share that story just from my recollection. He talked about a fellow who got promoted into management who was deaf. And he liked to make reports. And so people would come into his office and he would be writing and writing his reports. And he could not hear them. And they'd get all riled up and they'd talk to him and tell him, and he said he could guess that they were upset. He couldn't hear what they were saying. And eventually he would say, is there anything else that you need to say about that? More. And he'd say, what do you think you ought to do about that? You know what people look like when they're angry. And we shut them off, right? And then he'd say, well, why don't you give that a try and then get back to me. And here's the funny part, is that he kept rising and rising and rising in his management. And his department became the most successful And nobody knew his secret, which was to not hear. But he allowed the people to figure that out. So when you think about that, who do you think this man represents? Probably the God within us, yes? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And we're the little ones that try to do and be and, The truth of the matter is, isn't it, that no matter what, we're going to be successful to the level that we are called upon to be successful, to the level that we believe that we are going to be successful. So my belief is that God would really, really like to communicate with us if we would listen. There's always an answer to every tissy fit that we throw. There's always a willingness of spirit to talk with us, to communicate with us, if we're willing to listen. If we get out of our own way and stop the busyness, stop the doing, and just listen to what Spirit has to say. There's a teaching story that is the master talking to the student. Excuse me. And so the master sends his student out to the river to learn what the river has to teach. And so the student goes to the river and puts his mat down. It's too close to the river. So he picks his mat up and he moves it out farther away from the river and he sits down. It's got rocks. He's not comfortable. So he moves halfway and he puts his mat down and he sits to learn what the river has to teach him. And he sits, and he sits, and he sits. For 3 days, he is sitting. And pretty soon, a monkey comes, yapping and dancing and blah, 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 and jumping in the middle of the river and basking and swimming and having a wonderful, glorious time in the river. And the student was shattered and shocked and sitting in silence for all of this time, and the monkey had come and disturbed him. So he was just tearful, and he went to the master and he told the master what had happened. And the master said, the monkey was listening to the river while you were only hearing it. Which brings us back to the story of the little girl who was talking to her father, and knowing that he was not listening with his ears and his heart and his eyes. So in what way do you think that you are hearing but not listening? Are there people in your life that are trying to communicate with you, but you're not hearing them? You're not listening with your ears in your eyes and your heart. I know I'm guilty of that so often. And I'm also often very guilty of being like my friend who just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks to hold the world at bay so I don't have to listen. So what I would like to do before we go any farther, I'd like to just have a meditation, little guided meditation, if you would be willing to do that with me. And just take a moment to go inside. Release anything that you're holding in your toes. Letting go of anything you're holding in your shins and your calves. And your thighs. And as you begin to still your body, just allow your mind to grow still. Just stilling your mind as you still your body. And then easily and effortlessly, in a way that works for you, allow that relaxation and that ease. Allow yourself to let go of anything you're holding in your buttocks. And notice how you are supported by the chair. Just like Spirit always is willing to support you. And easily and effortlessly allow that stillness and that peace and that ease to move up through your stomach, and just allow your belly to be soft. Allow a soft belly. And let ease and peace and comfort fill your hands, move across your shoulders, and release and let go. You might even shrug your shoulders and shrug off anything that you've been carrying on your shoulders for way too long. Just let it go. And just continuing to turn inside. Notice how your head is sitting on the top of your spine. Let that easy, comfortable feeling move up the back of your neck, across your top of your head, down across your forehead. Just allow your forehead to feel as though a gentle, cool, smoothing hand is soothing your brow. Allow your eyes to be still and quiet behind the lids. And allow your lids to just be at peace and ease. Let your tongue find its perfect place inside your mouth, and allow your jaw to be eased and relaxed. Now, in a way that works for you, just allow yourself to listen on the deepest level. Engage your ears. Use the outside noises that you hear, maybe the dog barking, the children speaking and talking, the water in the fountain. Listen to those deeply. And if your mind wanders, call it back. Say to yourself, shh, shh, listen. Just listen. Using the outside noises as a signal to turn deeper and deeper within yourself. going to be still and quiet for a few moments. And just allow yourself to use the outside noises, to use the children talking, the dog barking, the fountain, as a signal to turn within, as a signal to go deeper and deeper still and listen. And so if my voice may join you now, just taking a deep breath and allowing yourself to begin calling your attention back into the room. Just reconnecting with any part of your body that is anxious to be speaking to you. Just allow yourself to come back and be with us. I'm reminding you that this is such a wonderful practice. It is such a wonderful way to really deeply listen to Spirit. So I'd invite the practitioners to stand with me and join me as we hold the room in prayer. As you allow yourself to just stay in that quiet place. And join with me as I turn within once more to that still quiet space that I connect with Spirit. That place where I commune with the divine. The place that I ask the questions, that I deeply and richly listen for the answers that I know are available to me. The place where I turn all my cares and my doing and my busyness over to the altar of that one sacred, creative force that I know is God, I call God, the one that knows before I ask, but does not presume until I ask or know or accept. So at this moment, I call my attention to those who have forgotten the truth of their being for a moment. Those that may have forgotten the mold and model of the Divine One that created them. And I call them back to the recollection and the memory and the knowing of their vibrant, vital, vigorous good health. And I call my attention to those who perceive themselves in some level of lack. knowing that spirit knows no lack. There are no limits. There are no vacant, empty, void places within spirit. So I recall for myself and others a recollection of the abundance of the universe and an abundance of all that is, knowing fully that no one must go without if I receive. There is plenty for everyone, more than enough. And so I call that memory to myself. And I speak it to the law that acts on my words. I call myself back to the recollection that anything that I believe to be a problem, an issue, a concern, is only so because of my thinking. And so I allow myself to move into the thinking space of spirit, to the heart space, to the listening place, knowing fully that truly, deeply, without question and exception, all is well. I know that to be true for me. I know it to be true for each one of us. I know it to be true for the world. And I celebrate that knowing. And I give thanks for that truth. And with excitement and joy and anticipation, I wait for the miracles and the magic and the amazing experiences that are mine, that is each one of us right this moment. I declare it done, and I celebrate it by saying, and so it is.